Hi, welcome to the Brightspace basic training for the gradebook. So I am in a course, so I'm going to go to the gradebook by going to More Tools and Grades. So it's going to put me immediately at the setup wizard, and so I'm going to hit Start, and now it's going to ask me to walk through 7 steps to set up the gradebook, and then I'll have other things I need to do. So the first step is choosing what kind of system you're going to use, weighted or points. We're just going to do the point system for this demo because it's the most common and the easiest. If you are using a weighted system, then the PDF handout I have on setting up the gradebook with screenshots actually has a section for setting up the weighted grades and categories. So you can look there or ask for help. You can always email me or call me or contact your division chair to see if they can walk you through this. So I'm going to hit continue after I choose the system. You probably see yours as defaulted to adjusted final grade. The difference in these two is that calculated means that what students are going to see in the grade book and what I see is always their actual grade based on the points they've earned divided by the points possible. Adjusted final grade means that I can actually modify the grades before I release them. So I would just suggest, you can play around with this, but I would suggest just doing the calculated final grade. You notice this is grayed out. There's so you can't choose it here. There is a way for you to do that in another place. So we're not going to worry about that right now. So we're going to hit continue. This drop ungraded items means that if I've got an assignment in the grade book, but I've not graded it, then it's not going to factor a 0 into the final grade calculation. If I have this then chosen, then if I haven't graded something that's actually in the grade book yet, the student's going to get an automatic 0 for it until I do grade it. So obviously this is the better choice. And then click this, and this will always keep the final grade updated whenever you add or change grades. All right. It's going to ask to choose a scheme. You will only see percentage. I have created my own schemes, but I'm going to go ahead and just do percentage right now since that's what you have. So you can do it if you click up here at schemes. It'll show you, you can make your own schemes. I'm not going to go into that. That's more advanced. So we're just going to do percentage. Managing view is you, right? This is what you see. You're going to see then options for student view or user view. So again, managing view is what you see. So how many decimal places do you want to see the grades, right? Do you want to take it out to 2 or 1 place or whatever? So that's, again, your option. Here's the student view displays. Now, you notice, with my grade scheme, I actually have it set to use colors to identify A, B, C, D, and F, and then a non-applicable grades. So it's easy for me to tell how many students have not turned something in because that's white, how many students have, got a failing grade because that's purple, that kind of stuff. So I like that, but you don't have to do that. Grade scheme just means that the students will see the letter grade if it's been associated. I would definitely say choose points grade because they can see then how many points they've earned. How many decimal points do you want the students to be able to see out for the grade? How many text items? So, for every grade category, it's going to have a name. So this will show up to 50 characters. It's, 50 is the default. You can set it for smaller. But again, it's not going to set it at 50 unless you use those 50 characters. But if you go over 50 characters, then it's going to truncate it. And again, here you want to let the user see their final grade. That's what that's for, if you so choose. And again, you can set it to not let them see it and only let them see it like at midterm or something like that if you want. So step 7 is just a summary of what I've done. And again, I have these go back buttons. I can go back at any place if I need to, but instead I'm going to hit finish. And when you hit finish for the setup wizard, it's the only time you're going to see this page. You can't get to this page from any other place. So we're just going to hit manage grade items and categories. And you can see I have nothing in my grade book except for the final calculated grade. So if I actually went to enter grades, I would see my student, but there would be nothing here, right? So manage grades is where I add my grade items, my assignments, right? And so you do that by going down to new. Now, if you're doing weighted, you set up your categories first. That's where you find that, but we're just going to do grade items. We have an options of different kinds of grading types. So I'm just going to show you numeric because it's the most common. So I'm going to say SA1. Now, you could put the full name here. This is what you will see in the grade book. So if you want to keep it as, narrow a column as possible, you can use a short name there. This is where I would add it to a category, or I could create a category. I can type a description here. If you're not going to put anything on the content page, so you're not going to actually add the assignments, this might be helpful to allow students to see, what it is that you're saying is SA1. So you could say, so they know exactly what it is. Sometimes students don't necessarily, they know what they're writing about, but they might not remember that it's what assignment it's called. So you can do that if you want to. Here I'm going to set how many points it's worth. Then if I want to be able to give students extra points for a really good job, or if they have an optional extra assignment that might be worth 10 points, then I can say can exceed. If this is an exam and there's like a bonus section, then I can do that instead of setting it up as a separate bonus assignment. If this is just a bonus assignment, I can set it up there. I can exclude it from final grade calculation. I can set the grade scheme. So if this is, a pass-fail, then I can set it up there and it'll just give me, a pass-fail letter. You can create rubrics to use. And again, you can see display options. Notice these are the ones that I set up for the students in that setup wizard. But if for some reason for this grade I wanted to change that, I would click override and then it would allow me to change that. And then down here is the managing view, my view, right? So you can hit save and then come back up and you're going to see restrictions. So restrictions is where you basically say, when do you want this visible? The default is that it's always visible to students. But if for some reason you don't want it visible until a certain date, then you would click this one and set the start and end date where they can see it. If you never want them to see it, or if you don't want them to see it until you're ready for them to see it, you can hit hide. And then you can attach release conditions for them to see it. Like they have to have done something, and you set what that is. You're right. Again, that's a more advanced thing. So we're going to hit save and new if we want to create another grade item. So we're going to say SA1 outline. That's my abbreviation for it. That is a 25-point assignment. And then everything else is the same. My restrictions, I'm not going to make it hidden, so I'm not even going to go there because I'm not going to change anything. Then I can hit save and close because I'm not going to set up any more grade items at this point. So you can now see this is your managing grades page. You see the assignments. You see the points they're worth. You see the type of assignment. So if one of these is pass-fail, this would say pass-fail. If I'm actually associating it to an assignment in the course or a quiz in the course that I've got set up, then it would show that association here. But if you're just using the gradebook to create grades or to record the grades, you don't have to worry about doing that. Again, that's a more advanced option. I will show you one thing. If you want to change the order of the grades, you can hit reorder. Like SA1 outline always comes before SA1. So I can just set it so that in the grade book, it's going to be the first thing listed, right? So you can do that. If you want to delete, you click and hit delete, and then it'll allow you to delete. If this is grayed out for any reason, that means you can't select it. It's usually because you have associated it with an assignment and you have to break the association link. In the handout about setting up the grade books, I actually walk you through how to do that. So you can get that there. Now, let's look at this settings menu. This repeats many of the things that were in the setup wizard. Like if you want to go back and change from points to weighted, you can do that. And it's not going to delete any of the grades. It will require you to set up the categories and partition how many percentages each category is done, but you could do that there. This allows you to change things like the decimal places and what students see. But on the personal display options, one of the things that's nice is that it allows you to set what that limit is for the characters. Let's say you don't want 50, you just want something smaller, or maybe you need something larger because you've got really long assignment titles, right? You can set it there. How many columns before user details repeat, right? So if you've got a lot of grades in the grade book and you don't want to have to keep scrolling over to see, oh, what student is this? You can say that after every 15th column, the student usernames repeat, right? And this one is if you've got a large class. If you're teaching an online class, you may have up to 56 people in there. This will allow the column headers to repeat after every 10 names. And so then you can, you're not having to constantly scroll up and say, now what is this category again, right? It allows you to do the final grades. But what's really great here is that the default is going to be that whenever you click the grades tool, it's going to open on manage grades. But if you want it to open up on the actual grade book every time, then you can set it to enter grades, right? And so I'm going to close that, right? So for example, now when I go to my tools, it's going to go to my grade book. And then I can, so I've got a sample student here. This is actually what your default grade will look like, right? So you'll see the percentages, but I can't type in things. So I can grade this by clicking the down arrow and hitting grade all. And that's going to show me all of the students that are enrolled for this one grade. And I can type in how many points the student earned. The other way I can grade is I can hit to spreadsheet view, switch to spreadsheet view, and that's going to allow me to type in the grade right there. So you can do it either way. You can also click the student's name and enter all of their grades at once for just the student. And that's also going to show you what their current grade is, how many points they have out of, whatever, right? All right. The final thing in this view is I want to point out that right here, you have this I with a slash through it. That means that the grade is not released. If you remember in the setup wizard, we couldn't click to automatically release the final grades. I don't know why they have that option there, but it's grayed out and you can't choose it. What that means is you have to come up here to the final grade and you have to hit grade all. And then you'll see right here release and there's nothing chosen. If I click that, then I'm going to release that student's grades to them to see. If you've got a whole big class, all you have to do is click this button over here and it'll click every student. And then I can hit release if I want to not unrelease them for some reason, or hit it again and it'll release them. So as long as there's a checkbox there, that means the student's going to be able to see it. I can hit save and close. And then now you'll see that this icon is showing their eye, right? The other thing I can do if I hit edit is I can actually change the grade scheme for this one category. So let's say that I want to use my category scheme, grade scheme and not the percentage, right? See, it changed the colors and it changed, what they see. right? So again, that's what that does. And again, you can change the title. So if you want to just say course grade, and then you can set restrictions, right? If they're attached, like so they can't see their grades except for something. If you want to say that they can actually exceed the grade, I don't know for a final grade why that would be something you'd want to do, but that's there. You can also show, if you want to say the class, you want them to see what the class average was, something like that, you can set that here, right? Let's go ahead and go back up to the default. Save and close. Okay. So, again, you can hide columns. You can view event log. That'll show you exactly what you've done. The last thing I'm going to show you is export, because we all have to turn in our grade books to our division at the end of the semester. So all you have to do is hit export. Now you'll notice that the default is just to show the point grades and the student ID number, right? So what you want to do is make sure that you're showing the first name, last name. You can put their email address in there too if you want. You can't, you can do the username or both, right? And then you can see the points grade. You can also do the grade scheme so that it showed A, B or something, but it's not really necessary. And then you can, if for some reason all of the grades aren't selected, you can click this top arrow and it'll select everything, okay? Then you want to export it. You wait for this to turn green, and it'll say complete over here. And then we're going to say download. And then as soon as this circle is complete, we're going to open it up in Excel. Hit enable editing. Now you notice everything is all bunched up. You might want to, fit the column length. Now this is it puts all of this extra stuff in here. So I'm not going to show you how to fix all of that, except to show you that you can make this this way. So at least it's not, and we're going to wrap text. So it might be a really long top. And if you switch up like that, it's going to do that. That's a little bit better. The one thing, and you can't see it here because I only have one student, is that it automatically sorts the students by their course number, right? Instead of their last name. So what I like to do is I like to come up to sort and filter, go to custom sort, and then choose to sort by last name. And then oftentimes I also then say, I add a level, and then I'm going to also sort by first name, because if I have somebody has the same last name, this means that it will keep them alphabetically by last name and then by first. So I'm going to click OK, and it will automatically adjust it. And then all you have to do is save it. However your department wants you to save the grades. I think this is the current system. And then you can send it to your chair or your office manager, whoever is the person that gets that.